love to travel, and this is a place that has been off limits or hard to get to for so long, and as soon as I saw the first poster, I knew I had to go.
Havana, Cuba.
I didn't really know what to expect, so I can't really say whether or not it was what I expected. It's just different, I guess.
Havana, or Habana, Cuba.
These are definitely the most open and friendly people I've ever met.
Yes, I would be less welcome in Ann Arbor than here in Cuba.
I ended up getting down with some Afro-Cuban lady, and yeah, it was great. It was a great time. I'll do it again if it happens again. I heard you guys have some good footage of that. I'd like to see it.
It's very funny. We were talking about, in America, you always have the TV on. Here, they always have a guitar playing.
Music is a language, simple as that. Music is it's the language of humanity, is what I consider it. I consider music the language of humanity and mathematics the language of the universe. But that's a whole nother thing.
And you pull out your instrument and you can play music with them and you can have a conversation through music. I feel like that's as real as it gets.
It's a really, really complex situation, and there's too much to wrap your head around until you just come here and see it. Even when you're here, it's tough to wrap your head around it, but it's just something you have to see for yourself.
Everything's an issue. It's all difficult. It's all hard for them. There isn't, their waste management and, finding facility, utilities is not just, there's not two specific problems. Everything is hard for them, besides the fact that they have the beaches already there, They don't have to make the actual scenery.
Just 90 miles that way? Florida and America.
We feel so far away, but we're really just less than 100 miles away.
Overall, I've had a great experience here, and I know it just like keeps getting better and better. It's been cool, for sure.
Cuba. What comes to mind when you think of Cuba? Forbidden? Off limits? Poverty? Socialists? Fidel Castro? Che Guevara? Music? Buena Vista Social Club? Rum? Cigars? Hemingway? Yeah, it's pretty much all of that, and so much more. And some of the doors that have been closed for a long, long time are opening. These college kids, or college students, and actually more men and women than kids, are here from Michigan State University to study music and urban planning and take part in the kind of cultural exchange that was unthinkable just a few years ago and that are now seen as a kind of open door to the future. Professor Ricardo Lorenz and I grabbed a few cups of amazing coffee to talk about how it's going.
It has been intense for us, faculty, and for the students. It's been, almost 3 weeks of coursework, guest lectures, many of them in Spanish, with simultaneous translation, and an intense doses of concerts, street performances, in which most of the time our students have actually sat on the session and performed side by side with these musicians.
The music here is like the way they interact, so.
Because music is in our mind. It's part of the Cuban nation. It's not culture, it's much more than culture. It's Cuba.
Music is sort of it's a humbling experience because you have to be honest. I mean, if you're BSing, everybody knows it. If you're playing with people who aren't BSing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a very real experience. It's a very person-to-person thing. You can't really hide as much, and it makes you pursue things more, I guess. I don't know. That's a tough question.
Being a musician has been really cool because actually I was having a little bit of a hard time probably the first 2 days I was here just because I couldn't talk to anybody. I could hardly order anything off a menu. But then about the third day here, I had a chance to play. And I was playing with some of the Cuban musicians, and it was just like, oh, whew, finally I can communicate with somebody on some level, you know what I mean? So that was really cool.
Like when I'm feeling kind of down about not being home or about being here, I try to seek out some sort of musical experience, because that's kind of been the, I guess, I don't know, it feels nice to do something that I know that people will understand what I'm saying, whereas if I go out and go somewhere, it's very possible that I won't be able to get across what I'm trying to express because I can't speak the language, so.
That's cool. That's kind of cool.
It is. It's very cool. And I mean, that makes me want to travel, because I know that no matter where I go and how little I know about anywhere, I can still hold my own in some arena.
I don't know how well I would be doing right now if I didn't have that type of connection with these people, because I think I'd just be like, I probably want to go home, honestly, at this point, just because I wouldn't be able to communicate on any level with them.
You can see a child of 3 years old dancing, singing, and we are noisy. We are noisy people. In fact, we are.
It's not only like music for them and entertainment, but it's a spiritual thing, it's a social thing, you know, in some cases it's a political thing, and there's always a connection with the audience at all times. Like every time, every performance that we've been to, there's been some type of connection, whether we're dancing, clapping, singing along, there's something going on. So I'm coming back with the understanding of how important it is to connect with people. Like that's why I played in the first place, I think. You know, was so that I could have that connection with people, because people is what makes the music. You know, that's what the music is all about. And once that's forgotten, you know, then what's the point? You know.
But here, there's street musicians that'll like walk up to you and want to play with you, and if you have instruments, they'll be like, "Oh, let's get together and jam," and it's it's pretty cool being a musician myself.
We create a bond, we become friends instantly because we have this type of language that we can speak, and it's called music.
There's nothing really out there that does that. It's just not simple as that. So it's just communicating on a very basic level, but also on a very high level at the same time.
I think a benefit that some of the jazz musicians that are here on this trip have is that we're used to just like jumping in and playing, and that's what we learn how to do.
I wrote down in my notepad, I was like, after each gig, you need to go to a table and sit down with those people and talk to them and really, have a conversation with them and connect with them, because I think that makes a difference, And when you're on stage, make sure that you are, connecting with the people. It might not work all the time, but the fact that you're trying, like that's more than, what I feel like a lot of people do.
As big a mystery as Cuba is for Americans, it's a two-way street. There haven't been very many Americans here for the last 7 years, and the Cubans haven't been able to interact with them. They can't leave, they can't come to America and talk to us to see how we feel about them. They get our government policy, they get the bad end of that, and vice versa. So when we come and we play their music, we hang out with them, we talk, we have a good time, we embrace their culture, they embrace us. Like they're super open, they just let us come right in. If they see you walking down the street with an instrument, they won't let you go by, they'll just tell you to come play with them. They'll just wave at you and yell at you, even if they can't speak any English. And so it's like, the only way to improve the situation is to be familiar with them, And it's international relations to me, 101. It's just people to people. That's not the reason we're here necessarily. I mean, to me it is. That's why I came.
MSU has 200 study abroad programs, some of them to Paris, to London, to Mexico City, to Cancun, or near Cancun. So the students who decide to come to Cuba are first very curious to demystify what we in the US think Cuba is. And I think they do come with certain expectation, but it's based upon how that information has been filtered because of obviously the blockade, and a great deal of unexpected surprise.
Okay, now I gotta take a little time and talk about the food. The majority of the restaurants are kicking out stuff that's just honestly not very good. It's not really bad, but it's not good.
Rice and beans has always been one of my favorite foods, but I'm a little worn out on it right now, so. You know, no reminders of home. Yeah, I've actually tried some cheeseburgers here. Nope. Probably gonna go to Golden Harvest to get an omelet and just sleep in my own bed.
When you look around here, there's no KFC or McDonald's or anything, and at first it's kind of cool, and then like they were talking about, I'd love some McNuggets, instead of this chicken and rice and stuff and beans and all that.
No, only 2 weeks after they were here, without eating McDonald's or any hamburger or any, Burger King French fries.
Right.
We went to Varadero, and you remember the big cafeteria?
Yeah.
They all went to the little corner where they had hamburgers.
Right.
And they told me, we needed this. We needed our hamburger, our cheeseburger. Of course, it makes sense.
And tonight we're going out for pizza, so the restaurants are run by the state, so that means they all serve the same stuff. But a rogue move that's also a nod to capitalism saves the culinary day. The small joints where you can get fresh, home-cooked, and excellent food, the Paladares. These are private restaurants where the owners pay a tax, yes, that's right, a tax to the government, so they can do things their own way, and they can even turn a profit. Step inside and you'll feel at home, which makes perfect sense because it is a home. This was your mother-in-law's house, is that right?
Yes, it's my mother-in-law's house, and she rented rooms for foreign people, and then we decided to make the restaurant here because many people know the place, and it was easy for us to receive clients and start the business with.
And you've got a huge pizza oven here that's fabulous. Why pizza?
Well,
do you just love pizza, or you had an old pizza oven laying around, or what?
We love pizza, yes. We all love pizza. As you could see in Cuba, you can see pizza everywhere. It's like a national food, but this is a different kind of pizza. It's Italian pizza. It's like it's made in a oven, a wood oven, and it's not soft. It's a little bit soft inside, crispy. But it's a little crispy, and it's different, and we love that kind of pizza.
And this is a paladar, right?
Well, the name of Paladar is it's called a private restaurant, but I don't like that name because that was in the 90s. We try to call restaurant or private restaurant because we try to make the better service, and we try to do our best. Not Paladar looks more family, it's familiar business, but we try to be professional and make very happy to clients. It's a little bit, I don't very happy with the name of Paladar for all the restaurants in private restaurants.
I won't say it again.
No, you could say it.
No, I won't. I'm afraid you're going to get mad and wreck my pizza. We are not even all that far from the United States, but unlike every other place I've traveled, this will be of absolutely no use. Smartphones don't work here, but that doesn't mean people here aren't plugged in. Did you hear me say I found this place on the internet? That's right, the internet. Places like TripAdvisor are starting to fill up with places like this one as more and more people in Cuba get access to computers and the internet.
Internet is like a bridge between Cuba and the rest of the world. And it's helping us a lot. It's helping us a lot, like now you are here, you and your students. And it's very good for Cuba, and it's very good for us. And it's good for you because you didn't know where to go in Cuba because before you arrived to our country, you saw a nice place, the picture and everything, and you decided to come here. Thanks to the internet.
Thanks to the internet. So we can also say thanks to the internet, we're going to have really good pizza tonight.
We have to say thanks to internet.
And the students look happy. I mean, students always are happy eating pizza, so that's always a good thing. The pizza here, truly awesome. So kind of a taste of home. No McDonald's, no KFC or Taco Bell, nothing. And almost everybody I talked with says that's exactly how they want to keep it, no matter what happens.
which makes sense. I mean, they don't want their culture polluted by our you know, to put it simply.
Sometimes when you travel other places and you see a bunch of American things, you feel like you're not really experiencing the home country when you walk down the street and see a Starbucks or something like that. So, but not here, no, not here.
So the Cuba you get to experience when you come here is the real Cuba. Sure, parts of it are set up for the tourists, but not many Americans come here. Not many are allowed to come here. And remember, it's not the Cubans keeping us out, it's our government.
We actually talked to a couple Americans who haven't wanted to admit that they're here because I think they're you know, because it's illegal for Americans to come here unless you have the right permit. And I talked to a woman, I said, where are you from? And she said, well, just south of Canada. And I thought, that's like a clandestine way of saying I'm from the United States.
For these MSU students, it is a chance for something authentic, something that doesn't feel anything like home, something they hope is going to make a difference, eventually, in a big way, in a giant, earth-shattering, world-changing way.
So I think that MSU, sending people here, college students that are open-minded and playing music and studying the architecture and the way they're just subsisting culturally, which is extremely rich here, it has everything to do with it.
It's really important. First time is an open door. Since they have no idea of what Cuba is, it's important for us to show how we are. I feel this is an open door to new experience for both sides.
I would tell anyone to come here. I mean, granted, it's not the most perfect place, I guess. It's not the easiest traveling place to be. It's difficult, it's dirty, but that's part of it. So I think that the more people that come, the easier it will be to see that it's not some scary communist place, and they're not looking at me with blonde hair and blue eyes saying that they're gonna, abduct me. And so it's definitely, I think more people should come. I think that they should see that it's just another country that has an amazing culture.
Since we have been apart for many years, I think it's time to get closer.
I really like the people here, simple as that. And, unfortunately, our definition of what rich and poor is materialistic, but these people have a lot more than what I do, that's for sure, like just as people, so, that's my take on that.
You don't come for the ritz and the glamour and any really actual trip. It's not a vacation, it's coming to meet with people, it's coming to learn about Cubans, and it's really hard to do because they see you as a tourist, but if you find the ones that look past the tourism side of it, that's what you come here for. So I think that's what it's cool to tell people about. You don't get that anywhere else.
I feel very lucky to have been able to do this trip, not by myself, but with 24 young minds, because I'm enjoying seeing Cuba through their eyes.
Sure.
I would like to come back. I'd really like to bring my family back and kind of show them. I think it's important for Americans to see this country because it is so close, and we did have relations for a long time, and I think it's someplace that they'd really like. I just think that for so long there's been a view kind of against coming here.
Like the people here, they love their country, they love everything, about it, except for the fact that they can't leave and they can't do what they want a lot of times, and they can't get money, and they can't do this, they can't do that. So it's a lot of mixed emotions,
There is big disagreements about the government. There are big disagreements in many fields. But the way we are looking at those disagreements are really new for both parts for both countries, not only for us.
What do you hope the students go back with? I mean, do you think they're really going to get it?
They already got it. I mean, I think they already got it.
He says they got it. They got that this place isn't what they expected, even though they weren't exactly sure what to expect. They got that there's a richness to life here that has absolutely nothing to do with money. They got that it's not perfect, that human rights are mostly an afterthought, but also that there are signs that this old, Cold War is thawing, and that the tight ropes of old regimes, old ideas, are loosening. Heck, you can even get good pizza. They sure got that. They didn't get Starbucks or McDonald's or KFC. They got that this is actually okay. Cuba is changing. It's changing and growing, and it ain't your grandfather's Cuba. These students got the message loud and clear that they can help change this place. So maybe it is about open doors, and maybe this generation will kick them wide open and take the first steps in a Cuba that holds its past close and tight as it rolls into the future.